while doing some research for my next Lead with Impact session, I came across some dynamite statistics that I think are really going to sell a major point today, which is when you lean in on your team's strengths, on each individual strengths, you are going to see higher productivity, higher engagement, and potentially more profit. Today, we are talking all about how to really lean in and utilize your team's strengths so that you can position your team to gain momentum and see success. And whatever that looks like for you, I'm here to tell you that when you identify your team's strengths, when you allow them to live and work utilizing those strengths, you are not only going to be setting them up for success, you yourself are going to see the impact and the positive results that come from that in your business, and they are going to get to see those positive results in their lives. And that is what we are all about over here, is changing lives, creating a shift for people to truly thrive. And when we lean in on their strengths, that is exactly what we get to do. Welcome to the What If It Works podcast. Let's get into it. As a leader, it is so important for you to know what your team's strengths are. There was a Gallup workforce study where they looked at how are managers utilizing the strengths of their employees at work. In this survey, people were asked, does your supervisor focus on your strengths? Then, based on that answer, they looked at ways this employee was engaging at work. And the people who said, my supervisor focuses on my strengths, 61% of them were engaged at work. Now, the national average, based on different Gallup workforce studies, is 30%. 30% of employees in the US are engaged at work. 1 in 3. That is crazy to me. But when supervisors are acknowledging the strengths of an employee, that jumps up to 2 out of 3 employees are being engaged or are more engaged at work. And that is what we want to see. Now, I talk a lot about engagement. What I mean by that is employees are picking up the phone. Employees are asking for help. Employees are answering when someone calls out for help and assisting. Employees are answering emails quickly. Employees are communicating effectively. They are engaged in the conversation. They are engaged in their work. They are engaged in problem solving. That is what you are going to see when you go all in on your employees' specific strengths. Now, here is where it gets even better. That sounds great as a business owner, right? As a leader, as a manager, we want to see our employees more engaged. We want to see their productivity go up. We want to see our profitability go up and more high quality work being produced. That's what we want. Here is what's crazy. When you, as a supervisor, acknowledge the strengths of your team and allow them to work with those strengths, like utilizing those strengths, get this, their well-being goes up, okay? They worry less, stress less, have less sadness, less pain, and less anger. That's what they report. They also report having more energy, feeling more rested. They admit to being more happy, and they feel they are being treated with more respect. That is what the employee gains when you, as the leader, utilize their strengths at work. And I just think this is crazy. Just this week, I was talking with one of my clients, and one of his wins was there was an individual at work who was, just not meeting the mark, just not meeting the expectations, producing low quality work that had to get redone, kind of wasting some materials because they weren't doing it right the first time. And it was extremely stressful for my client, who is a supervisor. Now, the good news is this individual, this employee, was a temp employee. And so my client kept saying, I just can't wait till the person that this temp employee is replacing comes back. Well, last week, the employee came back. And instead of cutting this temp employee, they still needed more work to be done. So they shifted this employee to a new task. Let me tell you, my client said to me, you are never going to believe how incredible of a worker this person has now become with this new role. They're like night and day. Before, they were slow, they were questioning things, they were not measuring things correctly, they were constantly having to redo their work. Now we move them over into this other role and they are cruising. They are getting things done faster than anyone else. They are then asking, how can I help? What else can I do? How incredible is that? Just by leaning in and finding what this individual's strengths were, now this individual is in a position utilizing their strengths and not just kind of taking over and stepping in for someone else, but really stepping into their own role. Imagine the confidence this employee is now exuding and how much more productive, how much more engaged this individual is. And my client was like shocked. Because had you asked him 2 weeks earlier, what kind of an employee is this person, he would have described a person who was lazy, didn't know what they were doing, slow, like I said, work ethic, constantly producing low quality work. And now, after 1 week in this new role, the words that were coming out of my client's mouth were productive, helpful, seeking out work so that we can be more productive. That is what happens when you lean in and utilize someone's strengths. And so I want to give you 3 action steps you can take right now to truly think about your team and set them up for success and really lean in on those strengths. Number 1, we got to first investigate your team. So if you are able, as you are listening to this, to write down each of your teammates' names, right? If you have a team of 5 people, write down those 5. Maybe you don't lead the team, but you are on a team of 5 people. I still want you to write down those 5 names because there might be a way for you as an equal member of a team to still utilize your team's strengths and see more productivity out of the people that you work with. Now, if you are an educator, and I only say that because a lot of my audience is educators, I strongly encourage you right now, write down, grab a roster, every single one of your students, okay? And complete this first part of this task. And I promise you, you're going to see crazy results for the last month of school. All right, so you're going to write down your employees' names, your teammates' names, your students, your players, if you are a coach, right? List those out. Now, in the next column, next to that, I want you to write one strength that this person possesses, right? So maybe it is that they are great at problem solving. Maybe they are honest to a fault, but that is okay. Maybe they're super opinionated. Maybe they are trustworthy. Maybe they are organized. Maybe they are social. Maybe they are positive and uplifting. So you are going to write their strengths down. The first thing we need to do is just figure out what it is. And then we're going to put it into our language. So tip number 2 or strategy number 2, once you identify and investigate what are their strengths, now we are going to speak those words to them about their strength. A lot of you have taken my courses and you know in the Appreciate module, I teach you how to give compliments. And in that, you say what their strength is. So you notice a behavior and then you say, I know that one of your strengths is you are organized. I know that one of your strengths is you are trustworthy. Maybe you might say something like, hey, thank you so much for taking notes during that meeting. I just appreciate how organized you are. So we need to be speaking these strengths out to our teammates or our employees. Here is what's wild. In one of those Gallup workplace studies, they found that supervisors could identify the strengths of their employees, but when they asked the employees to identify their strengths, many of them could not. I'm going to say this again because this is where the teacher in me, the empath in me wants you to realize that when you tell someone who you believe they are, it literally lights their hope up to believe that they can be that. So in a world where we have people with low self-esteem, that they don't know what they are, they don't know what their strengths are, they don't know that they are valuable to your organization, or they are valuable on your team, or they are a valuable member of your classroom. We need to speak these words into existence, because you might have teammates out there that literally think they're just coming to work to do a job, and not that they are coming to work armed with their strengths to bring value to the team. And so, number 2, appreciate those strengths. Speak them out loud. When you ask for feedback at a staff meeting, and Joseph is constantly the first one to give that feedback, after he speaks, say, thank you so much, Joseph. You are always the first one to give your feedback, and I appreciate that you are willing to share with the group and get us going. And maybe it drives you crazy that Joseph is always first. It's not about you. It's about the strength that Joseph has, where he does not care about the opinions of others. He wants to share and support the group with whatever decision you are making, right? Maybe you have someone who is an incredible problem solver. You are going to walk up to them during the week and you are going to say, hey, Amy, I know that you are an incredible problem solver. We've got an issue that I've been thinking about for weeks, and I just need someone else's opinion and help in solving this problem. Can I talk to you about it? Wow, imagine you're Amy and your supervisor comes to you and says, you are an incredible problem solver. I need help. What is that going to do for you around the office? Amy comes to work believing I solve problems. You are going to see more of that out of Amy. For that employee who is super organized, maybe you walk up to them and just say, hey, thanks for always being on top of things. Your organization makes our meetings run smoothly. Your organization is something I aspire to have, right? Speak out their strengths. People are not used to hearing it. They don't believe they have them. And you could be that mentor, that leader, that person that lights that flame that says, I am organized. I am honest. I am trustworthy. They're going to start to believe that for themselves when they hear it from others. So please, please, please make sure you are speaking strengths out into existence so your team knows not only that they have that strength, but that you see it and you appreciate it. Thirdly, select tasks based on strengths. You guys, this workplace study had the craziest statistic at the end of the study. People who utilize their strengths for 10 hours or more each day are more likely to say that they have enough energy to get things done than those who use their strengths for 3 hours or fewer. Now, there is a graph linked to this study that shows you that when you use your strength for 3 hours or less, you have 50% more worry, 53% more stress, 25% more anger, 30% more sadness, and 37% more pain. When you only get to live and use your strengths for 3 hours or less a day, you are increasing your worry, your stress, your anger, your sadness, your pain. When you are able to use your strengths for 10 hours or more a day. Now, some of you are thinking, who is working 10 hours a day? No. We are talking in the 16 to 18 hours that you are awake. You are using your strengths. So you are being organized. You are being positive. You are being honest. You are being productive. When you get to do that for 10 plus hours a day, people report feeling more energy. They feel more rested. They feel happier. They smile or laugh a lot. They're interested in learning new things, and they feel that they are being treated with respect, simply for utilizing their strengths during the day. How can we get more people utilizing their strengths? We can give them tasks that use those strengths that we know they have. So if you have someone who is organized on your team, I hope that they are in a project manager role. If you have someone who is a problem solver, I hope that you have them in a role where they can use those problem solving abilities, where they can look at data, where they can feel free to make open and honest decisions, that they can have conversation around problems and really look outside the box to find solutions. Now, one of my suggestions for you is go back to that chart you made. You've got the employee name, you've got their strength, and now the third column, I want you to write task. What is something they could do at work that utilizes that strength? What is something they could do during staff meetings that utilizes that strength? What is something they could do throughout the month that utilizes that strength? I was recently talking to one of my clients, and they work with a lot of similar personality types. Well, they had made the decision as a team to get new uniforms and put their names on their uniform. And so they needed to task somebody with collecting what names they wanted on the uniform. Was it going to be their full name? Did they want a nickname? Like, what was going to be put on the uniform? And they went up to a guy who is very organized, but also very approachable. And they said, hey, you're a really approachable guy and you're really organized. Would you be willing to make sure everyone submits their name to you for what's going to go on their shirt? And my client said the way that this man pulled his shoulders back and stood a little taller and said, yeah, I can do that, and got that job done with energy and enthusiasm. He was so excited to report by the end of that week that he had everyone in the entire shop's information, their uniform size, with their name, what name they wanted printed on there, and everything like that. And he said, I had no idea that giving an extra task to someone was going to be so well received. Well, let me tell you, when that task falls within their wheelhouse, it feels good to be asked to do something because we are recognized for the strengths that we bring to the table. And so on that chart, look at those names, look at those strengths, and really start to think, where can I use that during the workday? When can I really pull that out of them to really propel and move the team forward? We want to create momentum at work because when people are moving, it builds and builds and builds. And when people are not moving, we stay stuck. And we know when we stay stuck, we get negative, we get slow, productivity goes down, efficiency goes down. So when we can create movement and momentum at work, you are going to see everything explode. And so I truly want you to lean in on this exercise. I want you to take the time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It might take some of you half an hour, but that is half an hour that is going to, like I said, create that momentum and truly create a shift in your workplace. And what if it works? What if you go all in on utilizing the strengths of your team and you start noticing that they have more energy? They seem happier. They are smiling and laughing. They're interested in learning something new, and they show up as a respected member of the team. What kind of culture is that going to create when everyone on your team is feeling that way? And what I absolutely love about this is that you, as the leader, are in control in this situation. You are in control of your words. You are in control of your beliefs around each of your teammates' strengths. And when we can be in control, we can take action. And when we take action, we start that movement and that momentum, and other people will jump on board. I want you leaning so far in to these strengths and appreciating them and pointing them out, that your team starts doing that for you as well, because it feels really good when we fill up others, and it also really feels good when that's reciprocated. I want you to feel that shift, and I want you to experience that increase in your own energy while you are at work. And I just want to thank you so much for soaking up this information. And now remember, you don't transform your culture until you go take action. So do me a favor and get this assignment done. Shoot me a picture of it or send me a text that just says, strength list complete. You can send me an email over at impact@anvote.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, Impact to Influence, or over on Instagram @anvote. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you that you are willing to go all in on your team, truly build them up to not only see results for you at work, but to see results for them in their lives. We are here as leaders to set example and really model for others what they can achieve and what they can control. And we start by doing that, by doing it ourselves. Thank you for being here. Thank you for filling up your own cup and the cups of others. That is how you're going to see that shift. And I know it's coming for you. I truly know it is. I appreciate you so much. If you loved this episode, please make sure you share it with your team, your network. Let's get other people thinking outside the box on how they can shift their culture and they can truly thrive at work, at home, or in their relationships. And actually, before I let you go, let's talk about those relationships. If you are struggling with relationships at home, do this activity. What are the strengths of your spouse? What are the strengths of your kids? And how can you lean in on those strengths to get a different result at home, to get a different result within your communication and your happiness within your relationships? I know that when you fill them up and really use those strengths that they already possess, you are going to see a different result at home. And there is absolutely a way for you to do that and for you to control that narrative. And so go take action, go start momentum, not only at work, but also at home, and just watch how your life gets a little easier. Always here for you, always here to help you and answer your questions and truly support you on this mission of going out there and creating an incredible environment for you and for others.